Live Cardiff. In the weeks following the December 12th, 2019 general election, questions about the future of the United Kingdom are abound. With Britain's impending departure from the European Union being the main political topic on people's lips, it is easy to ignore other, as significant political movements occurring on the island, movements that would rather deem the United Kingdom a little less united. You will have no doubt heard of the 2014 Scottish independence referendum, wherein the No, or Better Together campaign won with a majority of 383,937 votes, a total of 2,001,926 votes against the Yes campaign's 1,617,989. Well, although a clear majority back in 2014, following the Brexit referendum of 2016, and more recently the general election of 2019, the Scottish aren't so certain whether they made the right decision 5 years ago, with polls suggesting that the gap between yes and no voters becoming increasingly small, and the Scottish Nationalist Party gaining 13 seats in the general election. Nicola Sturgeon, leader of the SNP and First Minister of Scotland, proclaiming that Scotland cannot be imprisoned in the UK. And that brings us to the topic of this short explainer podcast, a less well-known campaign currently gaining quite a bit of traction in Wales. Yes, you guessed it, today we're going to be talking about the Welsh Independence Movement, or the YesCymru campaign. It is quite likely that you will have seen stickers, flags, flyers and posters dotted around the city with the words YesCymru emblazoned in white print on a red background, Cymru being the Welsh language word for Wales. You might be asking why in the world a small nation of 3.1 million would want to leave the United Kingdom and try to forge a future as an independent nation. A question which may be better understood after a crash course in Wales's history within the British Isles by YesCymru, a graduate in history and postgraduate student in the Welsh language at Cardiff University.
The history of Wales is a complex one, fraught with patriotism, betrayal, unification and tragedy. Firstly, we need to understand that there was a point where the majority of the British mainland spoke a Celtic language called Brittonic, or as we call it in Welsh, Brythoneg. Then at some point in the early 1st century AD, the Romans invaded and ruled Britain for around 300 years. But due to Wales' rocky mountains and expansive forests, Roman conquest proved mostly unsuccessful, leaving us 300 years later with a footprint in a language and few forts, or ceirau, Cardiff or Cardiff being one of them. After being left alone for a few years, the Anglo-Saxons arrived from the European mainland onto the coasts of what is now known as England in the 5th century AD, pushing Brittonic-speaking Britons into Wales and Cornwall, whereas some decided to make their escape to France, settling in an area now known as Brittany. For similar reasons to the Romans' lack of success, Wales remained largely unconquered and ruled as a constantly shifting set of petty kingdoms by princes, or tywysogion. This system would continue for a while, until Llywelyn ap Gruffydd, also known as the last true Prince of Wales, was lured to his death by English lords in 1282, and subsequently a 1284 statute declared a nullification of Welsh laws and the King of England's oldest son to be the Prince of Wales, a tradition that continues to this day. From this point onwards, Wales was to be a principality within the United Kingdom. However, in the early 15th century, under the rule of the nobleman Owain Glyndŵr, proclaimed Prince of Wales in 1400, the last Welsh War of Independence ensued and lasted until 1415, when English forces once again claimed Wales as their own.
As we can see, the history of Wales is complicated, and it is understandable why the historic oppression of the Welsh people by the Anglo-Saxons, the Romans, and subsequently the English has solidified within the Welsh a strong sense of identity and pride. But how would an independent Wales play out in a modern world of Brexit, globalisation, international trade, and a multitude of social issues caused by a growing global population and a climate crisis? I got the opportunity to speak to a few young people around Cardiff to see what their take is on an independent Wales.
Dim ond mewn cenedl annibynnol fydden ni'n gallu gwarchod yn iaith ni a ein diwylliant ni a ni'n hunan fel pobl. Achos os da chi'n sbio ar ystadegau Ewrop, yr ardal tlota yn Ewrop ydy gorllewin Cymru. A I fel bod ni'n un o'r economis mwyaf yn y byd fel rhan y Prydain, mae hynna'n chwerthinllyd a felly dwi'n meddwl mae'n hen bryd ni dynnu'r pwera o San Steffan a dod efo I Gymru fel bod ni yn hunan yn gallu rheoli yn dyfodol ni.
Support for Welsh independence is growing, a 2013 poll estimating support for an independent Wales to be around 10%, compared to a more recent poll suggesting that support had increased threefold, with 33% viewing independence favourably in September 2019. Although support may be growing, a majority of the Welsh population is still either against or indifferent to Welsh independence. Let's hear from one of them.
Wel, dwi ddim yn meddwl fysa Cymru'n gallu bod yn annibynnol o hitha'n wlad mor fach. Ei bod hi'n syniad reit romantis i gael Cymru annibynnol, allai'n gweld sut. Does gan Cymru ddim digon o adnoddau naturiol fel yr olew sydd gan yr Alban i allu cynnal economi cryf a hitha efo poblogaeth mor fach, yn bersonol.
So we've looked a little at the Scottish independence movement, we've given you the history of Wales as an independent nation, and we've heard from both sides of the argument. Now Live Cardiff would like to hear from you. We want to know what you think of the independence movements of the UK. Are we better together, or should we maybe start to consider other options? Should Wales be independent? How would Cardiff fare as the capital of an independent Wales? Of course, the answers to these questions are in your hands. Leave a comment down below with your opinion on the matters discussed today, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to Live Cardiff for more of the latest cultural news from in and around Cardiff.